What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for watching another video. I just got home. It's a little bit late. I just finished watching Once Upon a Deadpool. Just wanted to give my quick thoughts on it. I'm actually not going to be using this review to review Deadpool 2, which is actually what this movie is. It is a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2. I just wanted to give my thoughts on what this movie specifically had to give that was different than Deadpool 2. And I'm going to do a separate video, I've decided, on Deadpool and Deadpool 2. I'm going to do a joint video. I'm going to talk about the two of them, so look out for that very, very, very soon, probably within the next couple days. But I wanted to just give my quick thoughts on this since I just saw it tonight. And this video is more for the people who are fans of Deadpool 2 or the people who are interested in what this movie really was. So just to give you my quick thoughts on what this movie is, it is Deadpool 2. If you've seen Deadpool 2 and you watched it earlier this year, then you have already seen this movie. If that doesn't really interest you to watch a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2, this movie is not for you. I won't, like I said, be getting really into my review and my thoughts on Deadpool 2 itself, but in this movie, what they kind of did was they took Fred Savage, who played the young boy role in the whole grandfather reading the story to the young boy in Princess Bride, and took that framing and added it to this film. So throughout the film, you have Deadpool, who he kidnapped Fred Savage. He has him in the bedroom that looks just like the one from the Princess Bride. And Deadpool is reading him the story of Deadpool 2, and it's funny because they get to play jokes on the idea that this is a PG-13 version. Deadpool even has a little beeper in his hand that that bleeps out different cuss words, and he has a lot of fun with that. So the best way I can describe this film is a film that's censored and cut for TV, that is aware of the fact that it's a film that's cut and censored for TV, and you know, they have some fun with that. There are some fun interjections throughout the film where it'll be in the middle of the movie and it'll just cut back to Deadpool and Fred Savage, and they'll have a little commentary about what's happening in the movie as if the story is really being told to him. So it does have this funny little cute charm to it. There's a novelty to it, and I think if you're a big fan of Deadpool, you'll really get a kick out of that. If you're not a huge fan, or it's just something that you really enjoyed the movie but you didn't know if you need to go out and watch the film again, I totally understand. I don't think this movie is going to be for everybody. I don't think going out to rewatch this film in PG-13 is going to be for everybody. I think it doesn't work 100% the same way that the first movie does. When I say the first movie, I mean the first cut of Deadpool 2. I think that when you watch this movie, you're kind of just like, oh, I've seen all of this already. There's that whole mentality of, I've already seen this movie, but a lesser version. You know, all the gore is gone, majority of all the language is gone, and most of the sexual references and things like that are all gone. And if you really love that about the Deadpool films, then you'll definitely feel like this film is lacking in that area, though there are new additions and little quips and stuff at the fact that this is a PG-13 version. But yeah, there was definitely tons of moments where I was just like, wow, like, how much more epic this scene is with the gore, or how much more funny this scene is with the language, and how much of that's kind of just taken down and stripped down. So this very much is just a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2 with these quick little interjections with Deadpool and Fred Savage to just add kind of like a cute, like, humorous new element to it. And that's really the main thing I can say about this movie. So if you love Deadpool 2 and you really want to see it again, you want to see what they did with it, I can see why you can totally want to go see it. That was how I was. I went to see it myself. So, you know, I don't want to tell you not to watch it, but if you're somebody who already, you know, you like Deadpool 2, but you're not really like running to the theaters to rewatch a PG-13 version of it, yeah, this is definitely a not as good version of Deadpool 2. You know, brought down for teenagers to go watch it, and you know what I find funny about it is, I've actually seen some people talk about this, is it does kind of make jokes on this whole idea of censorship, because so much of what's happening in the movie is implied. You know, like the violence or the language it's so heavily implied that it's just like any teenager can watch it and know exactly what was supposed to be said but isn't said, or what's happening on screen but wasn't actually happening. You know what I mean? So you know, a lot of the violence and the language is very heavily implied. But yeah, it is Deadpool 2. If you're a big fan and you really want to see what the difference is, you know, I can totally understand. I probably, if this comes out on Blu-ray, like, I would buy it. I would add it to my collection just for that novelty. But if you're not a huge fan like that, and you just feel like, oh, you know, I already like Deadpool 2 and I don't really need to see a lesser version of that film, then yeah, I would totally recommend just staying home on this one. It's not for everybody. I would say one of the biggest things that I think is kind of nice to go watch this movie again is that part of why Ryan Reynolds wanted to do this was to actually donate to charity for cancer. So from my understanding, I believe it's $1 per ticket went to the charity for cancer. So, you know, there's some good jokes throughout it that kind of add to it that weren't there before. But I think as its own movie, it's not as good as Deadpool 2 as on its own. And not only for the gore and the language and the other things that make that movie what it is, it's just the way it's chopped up and the things they had to remove and the things that outside of just the gore and language, like scenes that heavily revolved around that had certain little dialogue moments, big like chunks of jokes and stuff that were cut out. I feel like as an overall, as well as the interjections that happened with Deadpool and Fred Savage, as funny as they were, there were moments where I felt like it kind of took you out of the movie for what Deadpool 2 itself would have been if you watched that without these little interjections. For instance, I watched it with my mom tonight, and it was her first time seeing Deadpool 2. She didn't get to go see Deadpool 2 in theaters, and she enjoyed it. She had a good laugh with plenty of it. She was able to see the story play out. It is Deadpool 2, but there was a lot that I was thinking in my mind, like, oh, that moment was kind of ruined emotionally because they decided to do the little interjection between Deadpool and Fred Savage, and there may have been a funny moment there, but for what Deadpool 2 itself as a film would be, yeah, some of the interjections sometimes I felt like messed with the pacing of the film, just for the sake of jokes and stuff like that. So that's really my thoughts on the movie. Like I said, I'm not going to get into my full thoughts on Deadpool 2 right now. I'm going to talk about that another time. But yeah, if you're a huge fan, go watch it. And the one last thing I really want to talk about that I think that will pull a lot of people to go see it is this very touching scene at the very end that they added. I didn't expect this at the end of a Deadpool movie, to be honest, but it was so touching. The audience gasped when the last little clip started, and there was a big applause at the end. If you are very interested in what it is, I'm sure you can look it up online, but if you're one of those people who are gonna go watch this because you're a Deadpool fan, or you just feel like you gotta go support Marvel and these characters and Fox or whoever and go see Deadpool PG-13, then it'll be a nice treat at the very end. It's definitely there for Marvel fans, for film fans, and for people who are specifically Marvel. If you're a huge Marvel fan, there's a very touching scene at the very end, after all the joke scenes, after all the after credits scenes are still there, and that are in Deadpool 2. There's one extra added scene at the very end with Fred Savage and Deadpool, and then after that there's a final clip that just ends it all. And yeah, the audience that I was there with, like I said, gasped, and there was a big applause at the end, and it was definitely a great emotional scene, a clip there at the end. So if you're a big fan, I don't want to ruin it for you if you are already going to go see it, so it'll be a nice treat for you when you sit in the theaters. If you are not planning on seeing this movie, like I said, I'm sure you can go online somewhere and find what that scene is. But yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on Once Upon a Deadpool. I'm really curious to see what you guys thought of it. If you saw it, did you think it was a better version, a lesser version? I'm gonna assume most people thought it was a lesser version. I can see where some people who don't like a lot of language and gore in films may like it a little bit more. It's definitely a lot more of a lighthearted version of the film, but I feel like for the film and what Deadpool is, and as a sequel to what Deadpool is, it definitely takes away from, you know, after seeing the full version, it takes away from the full image of what it is. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. What did you guys think of Once Upon a Deadpool if you checked it out? Did you like it better? Did you not like it as much? Let me know. Leave a comment down below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!